Yo, what is up, guys? I'm your boy Nick, and today we're gonna be talking about the upcoming UFC Fight Night card, Hermansson versus Pyfer. We're gonna be going over the full card breakdown for this card in February, and I cannot wait for this card. This card is absolutely stacked with 14 cards, 14 fights. I mean, from the bottom to the top. So let's go over it, guys. We got some guys making their UFC debut on this card, and we got some good prospects on this card. I mean. And there's a couple of guys guys like Carlos Prates. I'm happy to see how he looks in his UFC debut. He's on the main. He's headlining that featured. He's a featured prelim fight on this card. And then we got another guy, Hyder, Amil. Another guy making his UFC debut. Another guy that we got on this card is Damir Bolaji. I mean, he's making his UFC debut. Another guy we got making the UFC debut is Robert Bryczek. And let's start with the first fight on the card, which is Duraev taking on Robert Bryczek. And Duraev is a wrestler. He's been in the UFC for a minute now, and he's been in there with guys like Roman Kopylov. I mean, he's able to out-grapple Roman Kopylov, but Roman Kopylov was very inexperienced back then, and didn't really have much to offer when he got taken down. Didn't really know how to get back up to his feet. So that win looks really good for him there. That's probably one of the reasons that he's favored to win this fight right now, because he's been in the UFC for a minute now. He's got some good wins in the UFC. He's trading wins and losses. Against Joachim Buckley, he couldn't really get the wrestling going. Just got jabbed up on his face and got his eye swollen, and the doctor stopped the fight, and he couldn't really have any success on the feet. Joachim Buckley was absolutely just nuking him on the feet, and the doctor eventually stopped the fight. That was a good stoppage by the doctor. Because he couldn't really see off his eye. And then he was able to out-grapple Chidi Njokuani. I think I did pick Chidi Njokuani in that one, because I thought Chidi could maybe defend the takedown, but Chidi got no takedown defense. We found that out now. Against Jung Young Park, I mean, he just got gassed out in the fight and just got touched up on the feet with the jab, and just didn't really have anything to offer. Couldn't get the wrestling going at all. And in the second round, Jung Young Park Iron Turtle submitted him. And I'm gonna pick a Robert Bryczek here. He's making his UFC debut in this card, but he's on like a first fight 5 knockout streak right now. He's coming off five first round knockouts, and he's been getting his last 3 wins are in Octagon CF, which is a good promotion. I do watch Octagon promotion. Octagon is a good promotion outside the UFC, and we've been seeing a lot of guys coming out of Octagon now. This guy's got some serious power, and he swings hammers. I mean, his takedown defense is okay too, but his takedown defense is going to be tested here, and that's why he's the underdog in this one, plus 140. Let's see what the odds are right now. I think they have let me check here if I can find it here, guys. So they have a Bryczek sitting at plus 140 right now. Duraev sitting at minus 160. I do agree with the bookmakers. I do think they should have Duraev as a favorite here, because he's been at this level for a long time now. Even though he's trading wins and losses, he's been in there with some high-level killers, man. I mean, so he's not out there just getting nuked early, but whenever he's going out there losing, he's getting finished. And I think Robert Bryczek has the type of power where he can absolutely sleep him on the feet. And I think Robert Bryczek is going to be working on the takedown defense, man. There's a reason that I think the UFC is giving him this matchup. I think they're kind of giving up on Robert Duraev now at this point, and they like what they've seen from Robert Bryczek now. He's got a ton of power on the feet. His style is fun to watch. So I'm going to pick Robert Bryczek here. I think he's a good prospect, and I cannot wait to see his UFC debut. I think he's going to look really good out there. But this is his biggest test so far. So I think there's some value on him, though. I will play his money line at plus 140. So I'm going to pick him by knockout. I think Robert Bryczek can get the knockout. The fights that I was able to go back, this dude's got some serious power. He's got a nasty jab on him. Just rips that jab out there so fast, and he's gonna set that right overhand right up, and he knows how to find the chin of his opponent. So I'm gonna pick him to win here by knockout. I'll say second round knockout for Bryczek. Next up, guys, we got Bolaji taking on Damir Hadžović, and I'm gonna pick Bolaji here, but I'm not really looking to bet on him at these odds. Bolaji is sitting at minus 265 right now, making his UFC debut. The Zulu Warrior has not fought the level of competition that Damir has fought. Damir has been in there with guys like Mark DeCasey. That was a horrible fight to go back and watch. I hate going back and watching Mark DeCasey fights. You already know how it's gonna go. You already know how the fights probably went. Marcin just out grapples these guys, holds them down, doesn't really do anything off the top position. And he's against Polo Reyes. I mean, Polo Reyes was having success on the feet against him. Eventually, Damir was able to get the first takedown, and then second takedown. And with the second takedown, he got into full mount and was able to rain some ground and pound. And that's why he was able to get the referee stoppage there. But he's been trading wins and losses, man. If you're going out there losing to guys like Christos Giagos, who's got horrible cardio, Christos Giagos dangerous in the first round. If you're losing decisions to guys like Christos Giagos, I can't really pick you to win here. I mean, Bolaji, even though like I don't like his money line setting at minus 265, I do think there's some value in Damir Hadžović here because he's been at this level for a minute now, but he's 37 years old, fighting at lightweight. And I gotta pick Bolaji here. He's got some clean boxing. His win over Dylan Salvador, who's a kickboxer, and Dylan Salvador was fighting in Eagle FC in Habib's promotion. And Dylan Salvador, I picked Dylan Salvador in there because I thought he was gonna be able to get that get some grappling going, maybe mix in the grappling, and I thought he was a cleaner kickboxer. But we found out that the Julu Warrior is the real deal. This dude is for real, man. He's got some nasty body shots. And he mixes it in really good. His striking, the way he mixes in his striking is super clean. He's got a ton of power, and he knocked Dylan Salvador out in the first round. I mean, absolutely just put it on him, and that was a clean combination. I mean, I'm picking Bolaji here by knockout because I do think he can get the knockout here. That's why people are picking him by knockout, and I think that's why the bookmakers have him up at minus 265 right now. So I can't really bet him at these odds. The odds are way too wide for me, but I do see him getting the win here by knockout. But Damir's been at this level for a long time, man. You can't count out a guy like Damir, who's been in there with some killers, but couldn't really defend any takedowns against Marcin. That was at 30-26. I mean, that was at 30-26, even though Marcin didn't really do any work from top position. And so I'm going to pick up Bolaji by knockout. Next up, guys, we got Jack Pauga taking on Bogdan Guskov. And I did pick against Bogdan Guskov there. I picked Volkan Oezdemir, and I was pretty confident in Volkan Oezdemir because Volkan Oezdemir has been in there with some killers. And Oezdemir, no time, I mean, he proved it once again why he's called the no time Oezdemir. Knocked him down with the left hook, I think, found that chin, and then eventually got his back and submitted him in the first round. I think it was in the first round, yeah. We had under 1.5 rounds there. We also had Volkan Oezdemir inside the distance. I should have bet Oezdemir by submission. That would have been like, I think that was like plus 1100 or something like that. But I'm gonna pick. I've never really been high on Jack Pauga, man. I hate his fighting style. This guy's one of the worst fighters signed to the UFC in the last year or so. I was so happy to see Muhammad Mo Usman knock him out with that left hook. Absolutely slept him. I mean, even though Jack Pauga was winning that fight, he's a pretty good kickboxer. I mean, he's a clinch fighter mostly. His style is very boring. Doesn't really have much power on the feet. And against Jordan Wright, man, that was one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life. He's the only guy that's ever taken Jordan Wright to a decision. I mean, the only guy that's ever taken Jordan Wright to a decision. Absolute horrible look. And I think the UFC is trying to get rid of him now. Even against Modestas because that was a very close fight. I did pick Modestas there, but I was not going to bet on Modestas at 2-1. But that was a close fight. It could have gone either way. But I'm going to pick Bogdan Guskov here, even though I'm not really high on this guy. But I think he's got the power to really like hurt Jack Pauga. And I just hope he knocks him out because I don't like Jack Pauga. Maybe I'm just biased. I'm definitely biased in this pick. I don't like Jack Pauga. I hate his fighting style. And he's one of these guys that I don't like to watch. Rarely ever I say that about any fighters. But Jack Pauga's got one of the worst fighting styles out there. Even at 35 years old, he's only got like 8 fights, and so I do think Bogdan Guskov, with the experience that he's got, he had a tough debut. Giving him the no time Oezdemir in UFC debut, not an easy thing to do. Go out there and fight a guy like no time Oezdemir in UFC debut. So I think now they're giving him that step down in competition that Bogdan Guskov needs. So I'm gonna pick Bogdan Guskov by knockout here. But Bogdan Guskov, man, the thing I'll say about Bogdan Guskov, he's got horrible gas tank, horrible chin. He's been knocked out like a couple of times now. I think he's been knocked out like 3 times. Okay, he's only been knocked out 1 time. Okay, but he was submitted. He's been knocked down a couple of times in the past. Because I remember watching his fight tape before when I was doing research for Volkan Oezdemir, and he's been knocked down a couple of times now. So that's why I remember that. I thought he was knocked out more than once, but he's only been knocked out 1 time in the past. And against Oezdemir, he got knocked down and got submitted. So he's got a horrible chin. I don't really have any bets on him at this point. I don't know if I can bet on him even at plus money. But at plus money, I think he's a good play, to be honest. What is he sitting at? Bogdan Guskov sitting at let's see if we can find it here. Bogdan Guskov sitting at plus 145. If you can't get the knockout though, maybe I'll look at the finish only prop for Guskov, because I don't think Pauga can finish anyone out there. This dude just has no finishing ability at this weight class at light heavyweight, and I think Guskov is the one gonna be finishing the fight if you see a finish in this fight. So I'm picking Guskov by knockout here. I really hope he knocks him out and absolutely chins him and retires Pauga, because I don't like Pauga. Next up, guys, we got Devin Clark taking on Marcin Prachnio. And I will pick Devin Clark here. I never really liked picking Devin Clark ever. But he's a good wrestler, really strong takedowns, good control on top. Against Kennedy Chukwu, man, I had a big bet on Kennedy Chukwu, and I was sweating it in the first round because he had Chukwu hurt badly in the first round. He's got some clean boxing too, got a ton of power, but he's a guy that gasses out there. I mean, he's got a horrible gas tank, but he's really trying to finish Chukwu, so I guess you can't really blame him for gassing out against Kennedy Chukwu. But yeah, he's got a really good takedowns, and we've seen Prachnio, he really can defend a takedown against these strong grapplers. Against Prachnio, I mean, Prachnio just he was having some success on the feet. Prachnio is a former kickboxer. I think he's got clean kickboxing. He doesn't really have ton of power on the feet, but he's a guy that can just touch and go, like just score points on the judges' scorecards and win fights based on that. He's got a really good gas tank on him. So if Devin Clark gasses himself out going for these takedowns and going for a finish, I could see Prachnio pulling ahead later in the second and third round. But I think Devin Clark can find a submission over him. Hasn't really finished many people out there. He finished William Knight, who's absolutely horrible. But I will pick Devin Clark by, I think he can get a finish over Prachnio. I think he can get a ground and pound stoppage or submission. I'll say submission for Devin Clark. Even against the Chukwu, man, he had him hurt badly. I mean, he rocked Kennedy Chukwu, and we found out Chukwu doesn't really have a good chin out there. But Prachnio is pretty horrible. But I'm not really betting on this fight. What's Devin Clark sitting at right now? Devin Clark sitting at minus 175. Yeah, you will never catch me betting on Devin Clark ever at a minus. If it was plus money here, maybe I'll bet on him. But at these odds, I can't really get there at minus 175. So I'm gonna pick Devin Clark here by inside the distance. Next up, guys, we got Daniel Marcos taking on Aoriqileng. And I did pick Aoriqileng against Johnny Munoz Jr. because I had a feeling Johnny Munoz is a jiu-jitsu nerd, and he is a BJJ nerd. Couldn't really do anything even when he got the takedown, then couldn't really hold Aoriqileng down. But I think Aoriqileng was a underdog in that one. I had a pretty time picking Aoriqileng fights. I picked Ayman Jahabi as underdog there, and Jahabi knocked him out. Then I picked Aoriqileng against Johnny Munoz by decision, and he was able to do enough on the feet where he was able to pull ahead on the scorecards, 30-27. I think it was a 29-28. I could be wrong, but yeah, Aoriqileng is a good kickboxer, good striking. Doesn't really have a ton of power. Knocked out Cameron Ells. I mean, he was pretty horrible. Not in the UFC anymore, I think. But he's been in there with guys like Jay Perrin, was able to outstrike Jay Perrin. I gotta pick Daniel Marcos here. I think he's probably a big favorite here. Let's see what the money line is on Daniel Marcos. Marcos sitting at minus 190. Not too bad. I do like Daniel Marcos. He'll probably be in one of my parlays, to be honest. I am gonna parlay Daniel Marcos at minus 190. I think it's a good play at minus 190. A really good striking, clean boxing. Has a ton of power. Has a ton of good cardio. Can keep the pace for 3 rounds, and has good volume. Against Davy Grant, he was a little bit hesitant. I did pick Davy Grant there by decision. I thought Davy Grant did enough to win that fight, but I picked Davy Grant by knockout. Never mind. But I thought Davy Grant did enough there, but Davy Grant got cut on his face, so they gave it to Daniel Marcos in London. I think that was in England. So I like Daniel Marcos. I think against a guy like Aoriqileng, who doesn't have the power that Grant has, doesn't have those elbows that Grant lands. I will pick Daniel Marcos by late TKO. I think he can get a knockout here. I'm going to pick Daniel Marcos by second on TKO. And I like the minus 190 money line on Marcos. I think that's a good parlay piece. Next up, guys, we got Hyder Amil taking on Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. And man, Shayilan Nuerdanbieke, I have a tough time picking this guy's fights. Shayilan Nuerdanbieke, I did pick him against Steve Garcia, and he hurt him bad. He dropped Steve Garcia down in the first round, and then couldn't really do anything. Came back in the second round, got hurt to the body really bad, And Steve Garcia, we found out Steve Garcia is the real deal at 145. By now, we found that out now after he knocked out Costa last time. And against Dirk Minner, this was a horrible fight. I mean, this was the fight that James Krause was involved in, and he was a -200 favorite, and then the money line went up to -500 in like a couple of minutes. That was really suspect. And I did have a slight play on Derek Minner there, like at plus money. I thought maybe you could get the wrestling grappling going, maybe find a submission or something. And yeah, that was a horrible that was a horrible bet that I made. It was only like a half a unit, but there's like some suspect stuff going on over there with the James Krause situation. But yeah, TJ Brown, he was able to grapple TJ Brown. I did pick him there as an underdog. I thought he had a ton of experience over TJ Brown and Sean Soriano. So Josh Kulibau was able to beat him. He's been in there with some good level guys, but man, I can't pick him here as a favorite, even though he's got a ton of experience over a guy like Hyder Amil. He's only 29 years old though. I mean, this guy looks super old. But this fight is cancelled. Never mind, this fight is cancelled. I forgot that this fight was cancelled. Nuerdanbieke withdrew from this fight. Never mind. I think Hyder Amil is fighting someone else now. He's fighting Mosik Bagdasarian because the other guy that Bagdasarian was supposed to face, William Gomez, pulled out of the fight. So he's fighting on another card now. Let's go to the next one. Jeremiah Walls taking on Max Griffin. And I gotta pick Jeremiah Walls here, but I'm not really jumping to go bet on his money line. He's got really good takedowns, clinging, good power on the feet too, but not the biggest guy for the weight class. He's 5'9" with a 74-inch reach. He's gonna be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage here, but I do see him getting the win here. I think he can grapple a guy like Max Griffin, land big enough shots on the feet. But Max Griffin is good, man, against Michael Morales. I mean, I did pick him there against. I picked Michael Morales there. I mean, and Michael Morales does what he does, man. Just Michael Morales is a really good point fighter out there. Against a guy like Tim Means, beating a guy like Tim Means, even at this point, pretty good luck. And McEnany was able to split decision him. I mean, who isn't McEnany going out there winning a close decision against? But he's knocked out Carl Kanan Song. I mean, that's a pretty good look there. Max Griffin has a ton of power, so if Jeremiah Walls doesn't mind his P's and Q's, he can definitely nuke him. But I do think Jeremiah Walls can bounce back here. He's 37 years old. They're pretty much similar in age. But I do think Jeremiah Walls can get this done by, I'll say decision, because I don't see him finishing Max Griffin. Max Griffin's a tough dude. So I'll pick Jeremiah Walls by decision here. I think he can get it done, but I'm not really looking to bet on him at these odds. Where's he sitting at? Let's see what Jeremiah Walls is sitting at right now. Jeremiah Walls is sitting at -212 right now. Holy shit! Yeah, I can't bet him at these odds. If he was like close to even money, -130, I'd probably bet him. But against that last fight, I mean, Carlston Harris, he was winning that fight. He was 2 rounds up on the scorecards. He was out grappling the guy. Then he got caught in an anaconda choke and tapped out in the 3rd round. And Carlston Harris is the real deal. Carlston Harris's only loss in the UFC was to Shavkat Rakhmonov. So no shame losing to Carlston Harris, I guess. But Max Griffin is a tough veteran, man. So if I end up betting on this fight, I'll probably bet on Max Griffin by like a split decision or something. But I don't know if I can get there. I mean, this is gonna be a close fight. I don't think the odds should be where they are right now. So my pick is Jeremiah Walls by decision. Next up, guys, we got Loma Lookboonmee taking on Bruna, Brazil. And I will pick Loma Lookboonmee here. I've been high on Loma Lookboonmee for a while now after that fight against Denise Combs. I did bet on Loma Lookboonmee there against Denise Combs, and that was a close fight, man. That was not a one-way road there. But against Lupe Godinez was the only girl that was able to beat Loma Lookboonmee. She's got really good striking, really good grappling. She can mix it in really well, and I think she's gonna be able to get the win here. I did pick Bruna Brazil in her last fight, I think. Did I pick her? I think I did pick her against... Yeah, I did pick her there against Shanna Bannon. And most people were out there picking Shanna Bannon there. But Bruna Brazil is good, man. But that was a close fight against Shanna Bannon. She didn't look too good out there. I mean, she was able to just outstrike her from distance. She showed pretty good takedown defense in the last fight. Her takedown defense is improving a little bit. But I don't think that's going to be enough. I think Loma Lookboonmee can mix it in. Mix in the takedowns and outstrike her on the feet. And Brazil has a horrible chin on her, so I don't think Loma is gonna knock her out or anything. She's not really a girl that has a ton of power, but I think Loma Lookboonmee can land enough damage on the feet and mix in the takedowns when she needs to. And she's got pretty good. I think she submitted Elise Reed everyone's out there submitting at least Reed, I guess. But I'm gonna pick Loma Lookboonmee by decision. I think she's gonna get it done. What's the money line? I'm not really looking to bet on her, but let's see what the money line is. Lookboonmee minus 235. Holy shit! Yeah, I'm not betting on her at these odds. You won't catch me betting on Loma Lookboonmee at minus 235. But I do think she's gonna get it done. I'm pretty confident in her getting it done. I think she's the better, well-rounded fighter here, and she's got a good enough chin on her that she won't get knocked out or anything like that. Maybe look at Loma Lookboonmee by decision, because I don't think see her finishing Bruna Brasil. But Bruna Brasil doesn't really have much of a ground game. She's a striker. So maybe Loma Lookboonmee by submission or decision. But I'll pick Loma Lookboonmee by decision. I think it'll be a decision, because I think Bruna Brasil is working on her game overall, her MMA game. Next up, guys, we got Trevin Giles taking on Carlos Prates. And I've been high on Carlos Prates, man. I had a big money line bet on him in his last fight against Mitch Ramirez. I picked him by first round knockout, but he was able to go out there and knock out Mitch Ramirez in the second round. I think it was second round, yeah, early second round. And this guy's got some clean striking, man. He's got a ton of knockout power, 12 wins by knockout. He's been in there with some high level guys, man. That's why his record's 17-6, because he's been in there with some good level guys out there. He's been fighting since a pretty young age. He's got over 23 fights at this point. And most of the time he's going out there knocking these guys out, and he's looked really good out there against Rocha, knocked out Rocha. I mean, all of his wins are coming by knockout. Ton of power, clean head kicks. He's got some nasty head kicks on the feet, and he's got knocked out a couple of people with the head kick too. I mean, he's knocked out Rahman with the head kick, knocked out another guy. He's dropping guys with the jab. I mean, this guy's got a ton of power for this weight class at 170, and I really can't. I was so hyped to see him get signed to the UFC. And I'm glad they're giving him a Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles is a legit veteran. He's been in there with guys like Duplessis. Gave Duplessis a tough fight early on. Even though Duplessis was able to catch him in the third round, I think, and knocked him out. Was that the third round? I think it was the third round, right? Duplessis knocked him out in the second round, okay. In the late second round. But Michael Morales was able to knock him out early on. Gabriel Bonfim caught him in a guillotine choke. No shame losing to Bonfim. And he was able to get a win over Preston Parsons. I mean, Preston Parsons gave him a tough fight though. But he's been in the UFC for a minute now, man. Officer Giles, that's what he was. He was a police officer before he started fighting in UFC. But I'm gonna pick Carlos Prates here. Obviously, if you guys can't tell, and I'm gonna bet on Carlos Prates too at minus 200. I think it's a good play. I think Carlos Prates is sitting at right now. Let's see. Carlos Prates is sitting at Am I missing something? Where's his money line at? Carlos Prates. Okay, sitting at minus 200 right now. Even though he's making his UFC debut, I think this is a good test for him in his UFC debut, and I do see him getting it done. He's a pretty tall guy for the weight class. He's gonna have a 4-inch reach advantage here. I think he's a good parlay piece. We'll talk about parlays at the end of this end of the picks, but I think he's a good parlay piece. Carlos Prates. I think he's gonna get the knockout. I'll say second on knockout for Carlos Prates. And he's got a good enough gas tank. He's got a good enough experience that he's making he's coming into the UFC at the right time now. Next up, guys, we got Michael Johnson taking on Darrius Flowers. Michael Johnson coming off a brutal overhand right that he took from Diego Ferreira. I did pick him there against Ferreira as an underdog. I had him as my lock of the week as my lock of the week there. And man, he just got absolutely buried. I mean, that overhand right absolutely slapped him bad. But before that, he was able to win the second and third round against Mark Casey, and had a close fight with Jamie Mullarkey. Some people think he won that fight. I think that was the right decision, giving it to Jamie Mullarkey, because he was able to mix in some takedowns, but got outstruck on the feet. He's just trying to hold on to his career at this point. He's 37 years old, taking on a guy like Darrius Flowers, who's I'm not really that high on. I'd pick Jake Matthews against Flowers pretty early on. And I did bet on Jake Matthews there inside the distance. Man, this is a tough one, man. As much as I want to pick, yeah, I did pick Matthews by decision there, but he got the submission, I think. Man, yeah, Jake Matthews is a guy that that's a good gatekeeper. But man, this is a tough one, man. I mean, that fight against Darrius Flowers' last fight was at welterweight, right? That was at welterweight. So now he's moving down to lightweight now, where he should be fighting the whole time. He's not the biggest guy for the weight class. He's 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. He's the underdog in this one, but so I do gotta pick Darrius Flowers here. As much as I wanna go and pick Michael Johnson, but as a favorite, I can't really pick him. I can't really trust his durability at this point. Oh man, he's only been knocked out once in the last 5 fights, but the way he got knocked out, I mean, that's a brutal knockout. I mean, right there, that's a brutal knockout. And at 37 years old, I don't know how much he can really go out there and beat these up and comers. I'll pick Darrius Flowers here, but I'm not really trusting to go bet on his money line. What's he sitting at right now? Darrius Flowers is sitting at let's see, Flowers. Damn it, Darrius Flowers. I'm having a tough time finding him here. So he's sitting at a plus 118, and Michael Johnson minus 138. I think Flowers inside the distance is a good bet. If you guys want to bet on Michael Johnson by decision, I think that's a good bet right there. I'm probably going to look at Darrius Flowers inside the distance, no action. That's probably a good look right there. But Michael Johnson's been in the UFC for a long time, man. And Flowers doesn't really have much power on the feet. He's mostly a grappler. He's knocking guys out in LFA, so he's got some power in his hands. I'm going to pick Darrius Flowers here. As much as I want to pick the Menace here, I can't do it anymore. After that knockout, the way he got knocked out was so brutal. He got buried in that one. I mean, he got buried like 10 feet under. I'll pick Darrius Flowers by submission here. Next up, guys, we got Dan Ige taking on Lerone Murphy. Dan Ige is a slight favorite here, minus 115. Lerone Murphy minus 105 right now. I think that's what the odds are right now. Dan Ige has a ton of power, really good striking, really good jiu-jitsu. Has horrible takedown defense. He gets taken on all the time. I picked against Bryce Mitchell there. I was probably one of the people that picked him against Bryce Mitchell. Yeah, I was one of the people that was picked him against Bryce Mitchell, and man, you can't trust his takedown defense. He's taking on a guy who's really tall, big for the weight class. Lerone Murphy doesn't really have the power that Dan Ige has on the feet. Hasn't really fought the level of competition that Dan Ige has fought. But he's been in there with guys like these up-and-comers like Briebo Santos, Amir Khani, who's not in the UFC anymore. Douglas Deandras. I mean, Douglas Deandras has been in the UFC for a minute. Ricardo Ramos knocked him out with the ground and pound. I gotta pick Lerone Murphy here because I can't trust Dan Ige's takedown defense, and Lerone Murphy was out there taking a Josh Kulibay down. So I think you can out-grapple a guy like Dan Ige. I think that's why they're giving Murphy the matchup against Dan Ige here. But if Murphy doesn't mind his P's and Q's, man, Dan Ige can definitely catch him in a submission or knock him out. But I will pick Lerone Murphy as an underdog here. I think he can get it done. He can get the takedowns and just mix it in really good. And just win 29-28. It's going to be a really close fight. Well, people are picking Murphy too. I'm kind of shocked, to be honest. But I guess people don't really trust Dan Ige's takedown defense just like I can. But Dan Ige, he's been in the game for a long time. Been in the UFC level for, been in there guys like Jambi, Josh Emmett. I mean, Movsar Evloev was able to grapple him. Couldn't really defend any takedowns against Movsar. And Bryce Mitchell took him down in every round too. But he's piecing up Bryce Mitchell on the feet, and we've seen Bryce Mitchell doesn't really have any striking. I do think Lerone Murphy has the striking to hang on the feet and mix in some takedowns. And I think because he's going to be bigger than Dan Ige, I think the takedowns will come a little bit easier. So I'm going to pick Lerone Murphy as a slight underdog here by decision. 29-28 there. Next up, guys, we got Rodolfo Vieira taking on Armen Petrosyan. This is probably the third time they're rebooking this fight. And I did pick Armen Petrosyan in the first fight. I did bet on him. I had 3 or 4 units on him at minus 112. And also put another unit on him at plus 100. On that last card, that was the Brazil card, I think, right? That was a UFC Brazil card where Gabriel Bonfim was headlining the co-main event. We had Almeida versus Lewis in the main event. So we're finally getting this fight back, rebooked. And Vieira is a slight favorite here, minus 120. Armen Petrosyan plus 100. I get it. Armen Petrosyan has a terrible takedown defense, but he's been working on it, man. He's got a pretty good get-up game. Even when he gets taken down, he's not really out there getting submitted by guys like Caio Barhalio, who's not really a finisher, to be fair, but has some submission threat. But Rodolfo Vieira is going to have a much better grappling. So I get it why Rodolfo Vieira is a slight favorite here, because he's got really good grappling, and Armen Petrosyan probably will get taken down early on. But I'm going to pick Armen Petrosyan here. I'm still going to pick the Armen Petrosyan. I was picking him early. I had him as my lock of the week on that last Brazil card. And because that fight was cancelled, I had to pick Rodrigo Nascimento as my lock of the week as a favorite. But yeah, I was so sad that fight was cancelled on this card. I think this fight would have been a really good fight back then on that Brazil card. But I'm glad we're getting this fight back now. And I'm gonna pick Armin Procian by decision here. I don't think he's gonna knock out Rodolfo Vieira. Rodolfo Vieira's shown some good toughness against Chris Curtis. His cardio did look a little bit better against Chris Curtis, but Chris Curtis was able to defend all the takedowns. Had some crazy sprawls in that fight. He was able to submit Cody Brundage, but Cody Brundage had him on crib straight early, knocked him down like twice, had him so hurt badly, almost had him finished. And then Cody Brundage does what he does, went out there in the second round, pulled the guillotine, and then landed in bottom position, and Rodolfo Vieira got the arm triangle in right away and submitted him. Submitted Dustin Stoltzfus. I mean, that win is aging a little bit better now at this point. Now that Dustin Stoltzfus went out there, submitted Soriano. Been in there with guys like Anthony Hernandez. He was a minus 500 favorite against Anthony Hernandez, but Anthony Hernandez has crazy cardio. Barely any guys out there can outlast a guy like Anthony Hernandez, I guess. He's been in the UFC for a minute now, but I'm gonna pick Armin Procian by decision here. I think he's gonna get it done by decision. 29-20. I think Rodolfo Vieira will win the first round, then almost get the takedowns and almost be close to getting the finish by submission. But I think Procian will just hang in there and defend the submission, and then come back in the second round, hurt him bad. And I think Vieira will be just trying to survive in the second, third round. So Procian by 29-28 decision. Next up, guys, we got the co-main event of the evening. Brad Tavares taking on Gregory Rodriguez. Wasn't Brad Tavares supposed to take on Bruno Silva? What happened to that fight? Or am I tripping right now? I think... Okay, well, Chris Weidman was the one that's supposed to take on Bruno Silva. Never mind. But yeah, I'm going to pick Robocop here. Even though he's got a horrible chin on him, he got knocked out by Bruno Ferreira with the left hook. I mean, like, that was not even the biggest left hook that I've ever seen. But Bruno Ferreira is a freaking stocky motherfucker, I guess. So, no shame there. Had a close fight with Armin Procian. And Procian was just able to outstrike him. And that was a fight of the night too against Armin Procian, and that was a crazy war between these two guys. I do think Gregory Rodriguez can get the takedowns here. Brad Tavares has pretty good takedown defense. His takedown defense is at like almost 80%, I think. But I will pick Robocop here. But am I going to be betting him at 2-1? I don't think so. I'll bet him against Dennis Tululin, because I know Dennis Tululin can't defend a takedown at all. Has no clue what to do off his back. And that was some nasty elbows that Robocop landed. I mean, but against Ferreira, I did bet him against Ferreira too. And even against on Dana White Contender Series, I mean, he got knocked out by some like lower level guy on Dana White Contender Series. Robocop has a horrible chin on him. And there's no way that he's 31 years old. I mean, every time I see that he's 31 years old, I'm always questioning life, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going to pick Robocop here. I think he's going to get it done by... Will he finish Brad Tavares? That's a question too that I have. Bruno Silva was able to knock him out in the first round. Some people think that was a little bit of an early stoppage. I did pick. Did I pick Bruno Silva there? I think I did pick Bruno Silva there. I can't even remember. Did I pick Brad Tavares there? I don't even know. Let me see. Okay, I did pick Bruno Silva there as a plus 130 underdog by knockout in the second round. Oh man, Bruno Silva was like, there's no way Brad Tavares would be over 2-1. He was almost over 2-1, and he was a plus 155 underdog in that fight. I remember. Man, I gotta pick Silva here. I mean, I gotta pick. Why am I calling? I'm fucking mumbling right now, but I gotta pick Robocop here because I think he's got more power on the feet. He's got the grappling threat, submission threat on the ground. I'll pick Gregory Rodriguez by knockout. I think he can get the knockout on the feet. Tavares he's pretty durable. He's been a pretty durable guy throughout his career. He's only been knocked out like 4 times in the UFC in almost like 23 fights. But I think Robocop can hurt him and find that finish or submission. So inside the distance for Gregory Rodriguez. But let's see what the money line is. So Gregory Rodriguez is sitting at... is there a line? Yeah, Rodriguez is sitting at minus 235 right now. And the comeback on Tavares plus 200. I did make money on Tavares' last fight against Chris Weidman. I had over 2.5 rounds at minus... even money, I think it was minus 110. That was one of our best bets there. And so Weidman is a tough dude, man. But I don't think... Weidman was barely surviving in that fight. Torres. If he was able to go out there and finish a guy like Torres, maybe I would have picked him here as underdog, but I don't think he's got the power to really knock out Gregory Rodriguez. He's got really good volume though. He put up a really good fight against Duplessis, who's fighting for the title now. But I do think Robocop is going to get this done by knockout. Next up, guys, main event of the evening, guys. Make sure you guys drop a like down below if you guys appreciate these early breakdowns. I put a lot of time into these. I got to go watch tape on these fighters, so it takes me like at least 6 to 7 hours to watch tape on some of these fighters that are making the UFC debut. So I put a lot of time into this video, so make sure you guys drop a like down below. Only takes a second. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're working our way to 1K subscribers. Let's freaking go, guys. I appreciate all the support from you guys. And let's go, guys. Let's fucking go now. So, Jack Hermansson versus Joe Pyfer. I have been picking Joe Pyfer because I think he's on a roll right now. He's looked really good against, looked really pretty good out there against Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. Al-Hassan was able to land some good leg kicks, and he was chewing his legs up. Then Joe Pyfer showed good fight IQ there. Got the takedown and got the submission arm triangle. Cast a submission prop. Did I pick him by knockout? I think I picked him by knockout in that one though, because I thought he was going to be able to get the knockout. Was able to get a submission though in the second round. Yeah, he's looked really good, man. He's out there staying active, competing and grappling too. Beat Gerald Mirza twice. He knocked him out in the first round, then submitted him after. Because GM3 was out there saying he can out-grapple a guy like Joe Pyfer. And Joe Pyfer went out there and just out-grappled him. So, Hermansson is a good man. Hermansson has been in the game for a long time. But he's just looking a little bit washed up now. Roman Dolidze was able to knock him out pretty brutally. He was able to beat Chris Curtis. He just danced around him. Didn't even have to use the grappling against Chris Curtis. Just danced around him. Had pretty good movement. Showed really good kickboxing skills in that fight against Chris Curtis. And he lost to Sean Strickland, man. Split decision. Really close fight there. Beat Edmund Shabazian, lost to Marvin Vittori. Beat Kelvin Gastelum. Submitted Kelvin Gastelum. Not an easy thing to do, but Kelvin Gastelum is kind of washed up now at this point. Hermansson is pretty good, man, but I think Joe Pyfer is going to get this done. I think he's on a roll right now, and I think he can get the knockout here. So I will pick Joe Pyfer by knockout. 80% picking Joe Pyfer by knockout. But this is a big step up in competition for Joe Pyfer. He's going to be in the rankings soon. And I think the UFC is doing the right thing, giving him Jack Hermansson here to get into the rankings, taking their time with him. He's only 27 years old. Excuse me, guys. And I think he's gonna look good out here. I think he's gonna look really good out here against Hermansson. Also, second round TKO for Joe Pyfer. So those are the picks, guys. Let's go over the parlays, the potential parlays for this card. I do like Joe Pyfer and Carlos Prates parlay. I think that's a good parlay right there. And for underdogs that I like is Robert Bryczek. I will bet on him at plus 140. Bolaji, I'm going to stay away from that one because he's making his UFC debut and he's over minus 265. And I will probably put a half a unit on Bogdan Guskov by knockout. His knockout prop's probably going to be like over 2-1, plus 200, plus 250. And then Daniel Marcos, yeah, let's do a parlay. Daniel Marcos parlay, I think is a really good parlay piece. And then, so Daniel Marcos, Joe Pyfer, and Carlos Prates. I really like that parlay. I think that's a really good parlay right there. You're probably gonna get a plus 180, plus 190 right there, because they're all like over almost like Carlos Prates minus 200, Joe Pyfer is minus 200 right now, and Daniel Marcos minus 180. So I think you'll get like plus 180, plus 160, or close to there. And I will bet on Bryczek at plus 140. I think he's a good underdog there. And Bogdan Guskov slight, maybe half a unit on Bogdan Guskov at plus 145. And then maybe a slight play on Hyder Amil by decision, because I think he can outstrike Shayilan Nuerdanbieke if he can defend the takedowns. I'm going to stay away from Jeremiah Wells. I'm going to stay away from Loma Lookboonmee. I will definitely play Carlos Prates by knockout. Maybe a slight play inside the distance for Darrius Flowers. Finish only for Darrius Flowers. I think the finish will be plus money. Finish only prop will be plus money on Darrius Flowers. Then I will bet on Lerone Murphy at minus 105. If there's some money coming on Dan Ige soon, I'm gonna wait to see where the lines go. Then I'll bet on Lerone Murphy at plus money. And then I'm definitely gonna be betting on Arm Petrosian again. I had almost 4 units on him last time before this fight was rebooked. I'm going to stay away from this one because I can't really trust Gregory Rodriguez's chin. But Brad Juarez isn't really a power puncher. So maybe I'll play the under 2.5 rounds in a parlay. With the under 2.5 rounds with Joe Pyfer. So we're going to do some parlays. I'll have a best bets video out soon. So let me know who you guys have down below in the comments. I love hearing back from you guys. And you all take it easy, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this early breakdown for UFC Fight Night card. Pyfer versus Hermansson. And I appreciate all the support again. And I hope you guys have a good 2024 year. So see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to leave a like down below. Come on, guys. I'm giving you guys early picks. Not many people out there are giving you guys early picks, doing early, putting in the grind like I am. So please drop a like below and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Share the video with your friends and co-workers. Let's fucking go, guys. See you guys in the next one. Later.